So what are some of the signs that someone's struggling mentally during menopause or perimenopause?
So, as I said before, some of the depression signs, I don't want to get up. I am struggling to even engage in social conversations and socializing. I feel like I don't want to go anywhere anymore. Whereas I used to enjoy doing certain things, I don't enjoy doing it anymore. Even eating, your appetite changes, your sleep changes. So some people has a lot of difficulty falling asleep.
Good night, everyone, and I want to welcome everyone again to the Healthy Reset. And tonight we have another wonderful guest on our show. We have Miss Patricia Leewah-Cooper. She's a psychologist from Therapy and Beyond, and we want to give her a hearty welcome to our program tonight. Miss Patricia is very, very versed, very knowledgeable, very patient-friendly, and she will be here with us answering some of the questions that we have for her, that I have, and later on that you may have for her. So, Miss Patricia, I want to give you the floor now to tell us about you, your background, what you do, and how it would be helpful. One or two things that could be beside the questions I have to ask you would be helpful for us women as we go through this menopause transition.
Okay, so good night, everyone. Happy to be here. I am a clinical psychologist. I also work at Mount Hope Hospital on the psychiatric ward. So in so saying, I have covered a broad range within the mental health area in terms of depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, things like ADHD, autism, dementia, sleep hygiene. So you find that a lot of these things would be also related to person going through menopause. So these are some common things that people experience. So I come tonight with that experience, and I hope that we could share and we could probably learn, and maybe I might be learning from you all too, because I feel I am probably in perimenopause, but I'm not sure because I don't have a lot of these symptoms, but let's see how it goes.
Okay then. So I have some questions to shoot at you so that we can make myself as well as the ladies online tonight more knowledgeable in terms of the psychological effects and the of the transition, this transition called menopause. So one of the questions I have for you, I want to start off with, is how does menopause affect mood, the mood for most women?
So menopause is that change in estrogen, right? And estrogen helps the production of the dopamine, serotonin, which are the things the neurotransmitters that stabilize mood. Those are the things that help keep your mood stable. So therefore, because we now experience a reduction of that estrogen during menopause and the drop of the progesterone as well, it influences how that neurotransmitter in the brain is produced. So there can be a decline, which could lead to irritability, anxiety, and depressive symptoms. I usually call dopamine and those neurotransmitters our joy juice, right? So it helps the reuptake. So when you're feeling sad, it helps you regulate to come back to a regular mood. If not, and we don't have this in operating as it should, you remain in a depressed state or you feel overly anxious. So you find that sometimes during perimenopause, which could be around 7 to 10 years before menopause actually happens, you may find, like, you might say, I've never been depressed all of my life, but I feel very sad now. I feel like I'm demotivated from work. I don't feel to get up in the morning. Some people don't even feel to bathe. They don't feel to eat. So why is this happening to me now? And there's where you start to take note, because this is not something that has been happening before. And for some persons, they may have they may have had mental health issues before, but maybe they had it controlled. It was controlled. And now during this transition period, you find that control, you start to lose that control. So where you would have been able to maintain a less anxious mode, you're now feeling very anxious, maybe getting panic attacks. So coming through this transition, it increases the risk for depression and anxiety. And those are the two of the things that could destabilize your mood.
Okay, good. That's a very good information. And I want to ask you as well, so what are some of the signs that someone's struggling mentally during menopause or perimenopause?
So, as I said before, some of the depression signs: I don't want to get up. I am struggling to even engage in social conversations and socializing. I feel like I don't want to go anywhere anymore. Whereas I used to enjoy doing certain things, I don't enjoy doing it anymore. Even eating, your appetite changes, your sleep changes. So some people has a lot of difficulty falling asleep. Some persons may fall asleep, but they may not be able to stay asleep. So they may be getting up 1 o'clock. And the biggest, to me, most common hour is 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Some persons say they say this is when the spirit is calling me, because commonly you get up at 2 to 3 a lot of the times, but it's a lot of sleep disturbances. Now sleep replenishes yourself. So the next day now you're irritable. So you find that irritability increases over time during this period. And because of this, it also impacts your anxiety. So you start to feel anxious. Some people say, like, I don't know why I'm anxious. I just feel anxious all the time. I feel like something bad is going to happen. And if you're not used to being an anxious person and this is happening, it's most likely because of the physiological changes that is happening within your body and that brain structure, because within that menopausal time, the brain is most impacted by the reduction of the estrogen.
Okay.
I'm speaking from a psychological point of view, right? Because you may argue on the physical part, and I'm not arguing with you about that, because I am the psychological part. Right?
Yes, I agree.
Brain. Yeah.
Yes, I agree, but because as you were saying that, many women, we go through a lot of these symptoms, physical, emotional, and then you wonder, many of us wonder at what point, right, during this having these psychological issues during menopause, should you require professional mental health support?
Right. So, I mean, every time we feel sad, we can run to go for therapy, right? Or if we get a little heart shake, a little shake, most persons, they say at least 95% of the population experience anxiety at some point. And sometimes you get over it, you work through it. So it's like, okay, I notice I'm feeling anxious. I've been feeling like this for the past week. But you start to do meditation, as I came in when you were speaking about that, right? So, and then, I mean, we could talk about that a little bit after. But you start to implement certain things on your own, that you're saying, okay, let me breathe, let me do some deep breathing, let me try to entertain myself a little more, distract myself, and you overcome it, it's not as severe. You might feel a little anxiety here and there. That you could work on, right? But when you feel like, let's go to depression. When you feel like it's been 3 weeks and I'm only taking a bath maybe twice this week, maybe we have a problem. We have a problem. Or when you feel like my appetite is out of it, I have not been eating well and 3 weeks has passed. And so therefore, you know that, okay, it's going to start to impact your physical self. If you're not sleeping, and sleep is one of the most important ones, because if you lose sleep for a long period of time, it starts to affect your nervous system, right? Among other things. So you want to tell yourself, especially if you say, I have not slept for 3 nights straight, we have a problem. So once you see these symptoms keep persisting, and they're not only persistent, but sometimes they get worse, you want to also take note of it, right? Because as I said, it's okay for us to feel sad. It's okay for us to feel demotivated sometimes. It's okay for us to not feel to eat sometimes. But it's not okay when it's persistent, especially if it's impacting, because a disorder becomes a disorder when it starts to impact your daily living, your relationships with family, your work life. So if it's starting to impact those things, then you know, seek help. Now, most of us seek help from Dr. Google, right? And that's fine, because sometimes Dr. Google gives us some good tips. But dangerously, Dr. Google diagnoses, and sometimes those diagnoses are not correct. So we want to be certain that, you know, and in Trinidad, we have a taboo where you feel, if I go to a psychologist or psychiatrist, it means I am mad. And that's not the case. Because just as you go to get a checkup physically, you also want to get checkup mentally, and that's cool, because your brain is your engine room to your body, and we want to make sure that it's healthy as well. So fear not, if you could get a professional, just be safe, be sure, check in with that person.
That is very, 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 very sound advice, because I have in my aspect of what I do, many women come in with this aspect, and you know, many times I want to direct them to somebody who can help them with that psychological trauma that they are going through at this time. And you know, many times they just come to just speak, you know, just want to talk. You know, it's just simple as talking with someone who may understand what they are going through. So what are lifestyle or behavioral interventions have you found to be most effective for managing menopause-related mental health symptoms?
So, well, most importantly, which I also believe I heard you speaking about, is supplements, because the replacement and to improve, because it's not a case where, oh, I'm going through menopause, this is a must, this is I have to experience this. And I oftentimes encounter people who say, this is part of it. This is not going to be over until maybe I reach 80 and then I'll get through this. That's not the case, because what is causing it is the reduction of estrogen and progesterone. So if we could replace those things, then we could bring ourselves back to a healthy state. But whilst we're doing that, we can also do things like meditation, right? Because if you haven't slept and you feel like I'm irritable, sometimes it's okay just to take a time out. You know, we push ourselves, and even for those who may be working, for example, you may be telling yourself, okay, I just want to finish work and I'll go through the day, and you're pushing yourself and it just keeps getting worse and worse. Sometimes it's just take a 5 minutes. You don't need, you just need a toilet break. Or you need just to walk away a little bit and reboot, because what mindfulness does is reboot your nervous system, right? So in rebooting your nervous system, you find that you could go back now and take on the wolves and take on the lions that coming after you, because you take a little time to reboot. And that meditation does wonders. So that's one thing. Now, the core of depression and anxiety is your thoughts. What are our thoughts telling us, right? Our thoughts are saying, I'm at the end of my stages of life. I'm going to die just now. Or any of those negative thoughts that may make you feel sad. Because once, yes, I agree that physically this is causing this to happen. But once you increase those negative thoughts and you give in to the negative thoughts, it sets the depression into a more deep, dark place. So basically, as the thoughts come, you have to challenge them. You have to challenge them. Sometimes some people may say, nobody don't care about me. You see, nobody call me for the day. But all this while, you never even want people to call you in the first place. But all of a sudden, because you're having these thoughts, you give into it and you feel negative about what's going on around you. So the biggest thing with depression and anxiety and mood instability is to monitor your thought processes and challenge them.
All right. So in terms of discussing I want to discuss touch a little bit on cognitive behavioral therapy, which is CBT, or talk therapies. Can these help women to cope with menopause related changes?
Right. So CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, is one of the modes of therapy that we use for depression, anxiety, and many other things, right? And the core of it is what I was just talking about with challenging the thoughts.
Right.
Because essentially, our thoughts affect our feelings, and our feelings affect the way we behave. So we have a negative thought. And when you look at it, I feel personally that your thought is the anchor to either your success or your failure. Because I think that I remember saying I needed to move simply, right? A chest to draw. And in my head, it was heavy. But in my head, I think I could move it. And it was so heavy that I thought I could have just push it and move it, but I couldn't. But because I tell myself I could move it, I started to edge it. I found a way to move it. So that thought of me telling myself I could do it made me feel this, or gave me the strength to find a way to do it. And then I behaved in such a way. So let's go to anxiety. Anxiety is fear of the unknown, right? So you're telling yourself, what if, maybe I coulda, I don't know. And you keep thinking, what will happen next week, next year, next 2 years? Where would I be? Would I be able to function? So we start to wonder about all those things. But the recipe for me for that is to live for today. Just live for today. Because here's the funny thing. What happens today is going to influence what we need to do tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
And if today isn't over yet, then we don't know what will happen tomorrow, but we already worrying about tomorrow. And most of the times when we worry about something, most of the times it don't come to pass. Do you agree with that, Maria?
Yeah.
How much time you worry about something, and then when the time comes for this particular thing, you tell yourself, I worry the whole time yesterday, and look, it didn't even happen. Most
And
of the
case, that
time.
is true. That is true. Case in point, Friday going here when everybody was people was up and down buying groceries, thinking Trinidad and Tobago gonna get hit with some missile, right?
Exactly.
I went somewhere and had something to eat. And sent some pics. They wanted to know how I could have done that. I said, because I said, at the end of the day, what has to happen will happen. So I told those ladies that, so if it happens, at least it would happen with my belly full.
Exactly, but so we worry for no reason.
Yes,
You know how much people spend real money Friday for no reason.
no
So
reason.
therefore, we cannot know what will happen tomorrow unless today is finished. And that is the core of anxiety and CBT, right? It's
Yeah.
managing your thoughts so that you don't feel a particular way. You don't feel anxious, you don't feel nervous. So therefore, you would not behave nervous.
Yes.
Your heart would not race. You would not
Yes.
feel like if you want to throw up or you're nauseous. So your thoughts, feelings, behavior. We can manage those thoughts so that we'll feel all right and we'll behave okay.
Right. So that is very sound advice. I mean, the advice I didn't even know I was giving myself on Friday, but it is quite sound. So, um, so what role does social support play in mitigating the mental health challenges associated with the menopausal transition?
Okay, so when you think about it, so did you go to eat by yourself on Friday?
Yes.
All right. Well, but if you had good company to eat with, how do you feel that would have turned out?
Even better.
Nice. And as you were saying, right,
Mhm.
sometimes you don't always need to have a therapist to talk to if you have friends that you could be safe with, right? That you could feel
Yes.
safe with.
Yes.
Because, and you look at it, let's take the emotion of anger. So you ever got real vexed with somebody and you say, see me, I will lick off this person's head if they come in front of me right now, right? However, you bounce up a friend or you bounce up somebody who would give you nice, solid advice, and you talk. Now the person will tell you nothing yet, but you talk and you talk and you talk and you talk and you get all this steam and you talk. When you finish, you see the person who had you wanted to lick off. Do you still feel to lick their head off? Not all the time, because you already get that space to let off the steam, or
Yes.
you may be feeling sad about something, or you may be feeling anxious about Friday, and you come and you talk and you talk and it's like, girl, we don't even know what's going to happen, and we talk and we banter with each other. So social support is important. Some people say, I'm a loner, but we weren't built or made as humans to be loners. We were made as a community, and community helps, right? Because some of the lifestyle things that when you're going through menopause that we need to do is one of them is exercise. And I meet a lot of women who say, as one to go, but oh God, to get this to pick up myself, to go around the savannah by myself, I don't feel that zeal at all. But then if you have little company and you're saying, all right, well, I'm meeting Maria. And oh gosh, when we walk in with Israel, old talk and we could ting and and when we done, we could drink a coconut water as enjoy that. So that's where the social support comes in, because it helps improve your exercise on the whole, releases endorphins in your brain. It improves, it releases dopamine, norepinephrine, all those neurotransmitters necessary to improve mood. And even in walking, if you're walking and you're frightened because you're by yourself, you're defeating the purpose.
Yeah.
But if you're walking, and I know I'm walking with Maria, and Maria looking strong, no tail, because she will protect me. So I feel a little better, so we could walk, and the endorphins releasing because Maria laughing hard, I laughing hard, reducing the anxiety, reducing the depression, and improving your sleep quality as well. Because when we reach home now, we sleeping nice and strong.
Yeah. So so that's why I think this forum that Dr. Khan and I have here is so important for many of us women going through this, because many of us are empty nesters, or heading to become empty nesters, or we had so many losses that it is a lonely part or lonely time. So I believe this group is one of the go-to groups or things that women can come and do online. So that is so true. So how then can a woman tell if they need to see a therapist during menopause?
So I think having been on this earth for such a long time, we start to know ourselves. We generally know when we're not functioning well. And for some of us, fortunately, we've reached to this age and never really encountered any mental health issues, or very minimum. But now at this age, because of this change in our body, you are now feeling the impact of these mental health issues. You're getting panic disorders, panic attacks, sorry. You're getting panic attacks. You're getting anxiety attacks. And it becomes very uncomfortable for you. You're isolating yourself and you're feeling like, I don't want to go out into this world. Or you might be telling yourself, oh, there's a scary place. Now, sometimes we think our thoughts are really reality, right? And you may say, oh, there's a scary place. But then when you think about it, you didn't feel like this last month or last year. Why are you feeling like this now? Why are you going into this cocoon of a person that is afraid of everything, or that is sad all the time, or that's feeling so demotivated? How come you become so antisocial in that you are a talkative person? Why are you not feeling to talk anymore? Why are you staying away? And that, therefore, is when you see the material of yourself, that identity that you have, you know your personality. And when you see that personality slowly changing, but not reverting back, then you need to seek help.
Okay. Oh, that is good advice. Very good. So what are some of the common myths about menopause and mental health would you like to burst at this time?
All right. So one of them is that sometimes, and we, especially in Trinidad, we are very well known for bashing mental health issues, right? And one of them is that people say, like, I feel like I get in mood swings. And they say, that's just in your head. That's just in your head. You're looking for problems. You're looking for problems. You don't have no mood changes or anything. And that mood change that you're feeling, and sometimes when you say it's just in your head and you try to believe that it's just in your head, it means therefore that you are ignoring what is really going on in your body, in your brain, with your emotions. And when you ignore things, it gets worse. So think of it. You get a cut and you're telling yourself, man, that's just a little bruise, it will heal itself. But you seeing it starting to get information in it. And you're saying, man, that's just a little bruise, man. And then you see it starting to get deeper and wetter and bigger. I will get over it, man. So when we ignore the signs that our body, because our body keeps notes, right? Our body keeps notes, and it gives us the notes, but we just ignore it. And that's why a lot of people, even with physical ailments, you find that some point in your life you felt the little murmur in your heart, you felt the racing, at some point you felt some lump in your breast, but ignore it. And these things fester and become worse. So when mood swings are concerned, you have to acknowledge it. You have to validate your feelings. I'm not saying to go into a different realm and be like, oh God, my mood swing. And I'm just saying, acknowledge it. This is happening with me. I am having fluctuations of mood. I am having sleep disruption, and it's okay. It's okay. But it's not okay for me to keep it. So I need to start to work on it. And it deserves the attention that it should get, right? So
Go ahead.
as I keep this word sleep keeps coming up, and you had asked me before, what can we do? And I spoke about mood, and I spoke about anxiety and depression, right?
Yeah.
But one of the things, and I will just share a little peep sneak of it,
All right.
in that in the sleep program that I have at the clinic, at Therapy and Beyond, is where we talk about sleep hygiene. And I remember doing a session with a bank, and one of the persons says, well, so much so that she wrote an article on it in their journal, right? Because she didn't know it had something called sleep hygiene. So one of my sneak peeks of it is, there's 2 things you do in your bed, and both of them begin with S, and only those 2 things, nothing else. No reading, no phone, no TV, no nothing. And if you bring yourself to that, and most importantly, no thinking. We don't lie down in our bed and think, because then when you lie down, your brain is going to ask, Maria, what you come to do tonight? You come to think, you come to read, you come to relax, or sleep. Which one? So you are confusing your brain. Because if you're in your bed, you are supposed to be either doing 2 S's, and that's sleep or sex. Either one of the 2. If you're not doing that, then you need to be out of your bed. If you want to read, sit down in a chair. If you want to watch your phone, sit down if you want to think. Because when you lay down, your body starts to disengage. So once it's disengaged, the strength of your thought also gets weaker. So when you lay down and you're thinking something negative, you don't have the strength to fight that thought, because your brain is disengaging to sleep. So therefore, what happens at 9 o'clock? One thought. 10 past 9, another. Quarter past, another. And another, and another, and another, and another. 12 o'clock, we still going on the thought lane, right? And we just thinking, especially if something is on our mind or something has happened during the day that would have ultimately affected us. So therefore, sleep hygiene, in terms of how we could help these things, makes it better, So for me, I practice doing all those things outside of my bed.
Okay.
Anytime I lie down in my bed now, I fall asleep in 2 minutes. 2 clockwork. And most of the times, like sometimes my husband will come and he'll say, talking to me, 2 minutes pass. You can't talk to me after 2 minutes. That is the window there. You have to talk to me in the 2 minutes. And then he would wake me up and tell me that I am faking. I'm not really sleeping. And this man is out of his mind. I am sleeping. 2 minutes has passed. This is it. You have that 2-minute window and I knock out, right? So, and that happened over time. It didn't happen right away. It's over time of me practicing, not doing anything in my bed, but the S's.
Because that was the next question I was about to ask you. How long does it take? And that is what you say. So that means you have to go through a number of sessions with you to learn how to do that kind of thinking on for yourself.
Yes. And once we get that into the realm of your life, that's it. You will have no sleep problems again. But so in terms of, you see, we want to eliminate the things that you have control over.
Right.
So that when you reach to this menopausal stage now, it's just now to supplement the things that your body may be lacking and all of that, so that
Okay.
you're not fighting two battles. We don't want to fight two battles. We only want to fight one battle.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of women who feeling at this point, the feeling like nobody can really understand what they're going through, and they get this feeling of isolation during this menopausal transition, what is the best advice that you can give women at this time to get rid of that feeling of isolation?
So we going back again to CBT, which is doing it on your own, acknowledging your feelings, accepting
Okay.
that it's normal to feel this way. We going back. So we tying all the questions you asked me before, we tying them up now.
Yeah.
Because acknowledging your feelings, challenging the thoughts, getting your sleep so you're not feeling irritable, staying connected with friends, because you will find in your circle somebody who going through this. Like I was talking to one of my colleagues, and I was telling her, hey, happy birthday and thing, and we work together, and she was telling me, I feel as menopause have me feeling so. Now, I'm not looking at her as though you're going through menopause, but sometimes we hide and we keep our feelings to ourselves. And it's
Yeah.
when we start to share with people, you realize that, hey, wait now, I thought I feeling bad for going through this. I didn't realize there's about 4 other people around me going through the same thing, because you talk out about it and then they feel comfortable to talk to. So you're looking at staying connected. Even if you don't feel well, I don't have anybody physically around me, there are always social groups online, support groups that talk about every topic in the universe right now. You'll find a group for that you could get info, that you could ask questions anonymously and so forth. Prioritize, try your best to keep social though, keep doing social activities and maintain that physical health.
So what I want to do now is to open the floor to 1 or 2 questions for you before we close off tonight. Anyone who, and I don't want you all to be shy, anyone who think they need to ask Miss Cooper a question, Miss Cooper, a question concerning this particular topic or what you may be going through mentally. For some advice, the floor is now open, ladies. Okay. All right. So, anybody, any question? Because
Hi, good night.
okay, thank you, Sharon.
Hi,
Hi.
oh, sorry.
I'm not sure if it's a question, but you're talking about anxiety, and I understood that. And but there is this feeling, well, I have it, where that and it's something I sat down and I was thinking about it, where this thing came from, where that I cannot sit in crowds, cannot be in crowds. I don't travel because I can't go in the plane of itself. So it's a claustrophobic feeling. Sometimes even home in your bedroom when you're sitting down and you just start to feel claustrophobic, like things just closing in on you kind of thing. And it's not, I don't suffer, at least I don't believe I suffer with depression, but but there's this feeling that, even to travel, if I have to travel, I have to sit to the front of the seat. If I have to travel in a maxi, I have to be to the front. And so it's this feeling of being enclosed. So I don't know if it's a question or if it's something that, you could probably, I don't know if you encountered it before.
Right. So again, that is because if you never experienced that before and you're now experiencing it, it's also related to that estrogen, progesterone influence on your neurotransmitters, right? So it is a form of anxiety. And that palpitation, you're feeling that fear of crowds is a form of anxiety. So you can overcome it. It's not here to stay. As I said earlier, I don't think I got to finish the my sentence back then, right? These things don't have to be permanent. So it is a panic sensitivity where you start to feel and experience that anxiety in crowds. What you could do in the meantime, though, is start to challenge your thoughts. Don't always give in to it and say, okay, I am afraid of the crowd, I'm afraid of sitting in the back seat, and I'm just going to avoid it at all costs. But start to challenge the thoughts that you're having so that it will become easier and easier as time go by. I mean, you won't get over it immediately, but it can become easier with challenging those thoughts of how you're feeling. But definitely, it is a part of menopause.
Ms.
Thank you.
Williams, does that answer the concern?
Oh, well, I guess because I didn't think of it as being anxiety.
Okay.
You know, I just thought of it as being, you know, not being, well, I guess not being in control of your feelings. So as you said, so like before, you know, you have, like, I know I have to travel. From 2 nights before that, I can't sleep because I know I have to go on the plane, you know.
Right.
When I have to come back home, it's the same thing. I had to tell myself, well, you had to come back home, so you had to go on the plane.
So then you should ask yourself then, Sharon, like, what was it worse? Why am I feeling like this? Was it worse that could happen? Why am I, you know? So it's like you're saying, what if the plane crash? To me, if you're doing Caribbean Airlines, for example, has any of the Caribbean Airlines planes ever crashed? Why are you feeling like this?
I don't even think it's fear of the plane crashing. I don't
What
have that fear. It's just
what
the
is
fear of being enclosed in a
oh, so
place.
you have the
So what?
phobia.
So
It's like a
well, yes,
phobia.
it's a form of claustrophobia. But once I'm
Yeah.
in the plane and the plane is in the air and we flying, I am good. From the time the plane have to land or take off, I have to go through this whole of that I need to get off the plane kind of thing, or I need
Right.
to get out of the room, or the room is too
Right.
crowded, I need to get out of the room. And even sometimes alone home, and then sometimes I just get this feeling of, you know, I tried breathing and I started a little meditation and stuff to see if it will help. But I never thought of it as being a part of menopause. I don't know. I just never thought about it that way.
Yes.
And I never had that feeling. So it's been happening a little while, about over 3 or 4 years, but I never thought of it as being part of menopause.
Yeah, because for perimenopause, it starts like 7 to 10 years before, roughly, right? Before menopause. So the onset of these things could start even from then. And it is the changes in your body, the changes in your brain.
Okay. So again, I believe right now we're really out of time. I don't want to overspend the time we have. I found this session to be particularly informative. And Ms. Patricia, Ms. Cooper, I would like that, you know, sometime in the near future that you could come along again, because I know this is just probably a drop in the bucket, right? Really and truly. And there is a number of things that could be highlighted for us women here on this channel so that we can deal with a lot of the issues we have, like when we have to deal with death and loss and, you know, things like that, how to cope, you know, things like that. So I want to thank you for your time, for your effort, for coming on tonight. I know we caught you off guard, right? Dr. Khan was telling me it was tomorrow.
I thought it was tomorrow, so I'm telling him I have not prepared my speech as yet.
Well, if it wasn't prepared, well, this was so well done. We very well appreciated by all of us here. I want to thank you for your time and your knowledge and the effort and the caring that you put in into giving us this information.
Yes, not a problem. I
And
think
so,
when you enjoy what you do, it shows, you know. I love it.
somebody is now telling me they are enthusiastic about the sleep hygiene. They probably would like to.
I'm gonna put my number in the chat.
Yes, so please do, because I think many of us would like to get the information from you. Not everybody, and Michelle said the information was quite awesome. You know, not everybody would be brave enough, you know, to talk their issues out, you know. So if you know, you could have your numbers posted up, and they would I believe some people would contact you. Right? So Ms.
I've put two numbers. It's 6820340. 7806365.
All right. So could you repeat it again for everyone? Ladies, listen, if you want to write it down.
6820340 and 7806365.
Thank you very, very much. Very, very much for this such a very beautiful and enlightening session, Ms. Cooper. And thank you again, ladies, for your interest in this topic. We have other things with different mental issues during menopause, which we would like to touch on sometime later on, and we would like to invite you back. So I'm giving you an open invitation to come back anytime.
Yes.
Right?
So one of the things we could do, Maria, is memory.
It's memory.
And brain.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Right? So we keep that in mind for the next topic, because you know that is a big, big issue now with a lot of women going through menopause. You know, the brain fog and these problems, it could be very, very disheartening.
Yes.
Right? So thanks again for your time.
You're welcome.
Your knowledge.
It was a pleasure.